One Handmaid's Tale star was a scholar of her character years before she was even cast, and she's not the only one who's now been transformed by this life-changing show. Over the course of The Handmaid's Tale, Elisabeth Moss's June Osborne escaped captivity, reclaimed her own identity, and inspired numerous other women to do the same. Outside of Gilead, Moss is also a full-fledged movie star, particularly in horror flicks like Us and The Invisible Man. Off-screen, she became a mother for the first time in 2024, which made her see Handmaids in a whole new light. As she told Variety in 2025, "I can't watch certain scenes. When a person used to come up to me and say, 'I just had a baby and I can't watch the show,' I had a little judgment like, 'Oh God, get over it.' Now I totally get it."
Yes. And we always feel super honored that people have felt like it means something to their lives.
Moss is also big into fashion, expressing herself on red carpets the world over. Back in 2013, when she was starring as Peggy Olson on Mad Men, she even guest judged an episode of Project Runway. She was bowled over by the designer's fashion sense, musing to Marie Claire, "I couldn't make a sheet to put over your body. I wouldn't even be able to make the hole for your head." As Aunt Lydia, and Dowd kept the Handmaids in line by aiding in their re-education. But in the final season, Lydia turns her back on Gilead, which sets up the upcoming sequel series, The Testaments. As Dowd explained to TV Insider in 2025, she will never be the same again. She's changed profoundly. Aunt Lydia is intentionally dressed down, but in real life, Dowd isn't afraid to get glam for a red carpet. She's put in the work over the course of her career, steadily building up a reputation as one of the most reliable character actors in the business. It took her decades to reach that level, but she had faith in herself. As she told Glamour in 2018, "Pay attention to where you are. Celebrate the small victories. Every time I got a role, I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I thought, oh my gosh, someone said yes."
Where the story goes is the place where it should go.
As Serena Joy Waterford, Yvonne Strahovski began The Handmaid's Tale as a clear antagonist, but she eventually became much more complex, at times both an ally and a foe. Serena survives the series finale, but Strahovski actually wouldn't have minded if the writers had instead killed her off. As she admitted to The Hollywood Reporter, "If it was dramatic and awful and painful and tragic, I thought the audience would feel really satisfied. I certainly felt like she had it coming. But where we actually end up is in a space that holds a lot more hope." Serena gets put through the ringer, but in real life, Strahovski can always be counted on to deliver the glamour on the red carpet. However, her relationship with beauty has changed over the years. As she explained to Pop Sugar in 2025, there's an expectation, or there used to be, that as an actress, you had to be pretty and presentable and fashionable. That part was the part that I rejected, but I still played along because I felt the pressure. Where I've arrived is that it's whatever makes you feel good, whatever you need or want, or however you choose to express yourself. As Janine, Madeline Brewer was one of the most distinctive-looking handmaids, as she wears a striking eye patch after losing her right eye. She looks different out in the wild, which is probably why she doesn't get recognized a ton in public. As she told The Hollywood Reporter in 2025, "If you see me out in the world with my sweatpants on, my hair up and sunglasses on, you might not see Janine, especially if my hair is straight. But if I go out with my curly hair, people do tend to say something." The last set of Handmaid's Tale episodes coincided with Brewer's stint on the final season of the Netflix thriller You, and Brewer was grateful for the opportunity to play such a different character. As she put it, "It was so fun to not have an eye patch, just to get cute little clothes and be a cute girl."
I felt really excited to just dive into a completely different character.
If you see Brewer on a red carpet, chances are you won't be reminded of any of her characters. As she explained to Marie Claire, "I don't really like to bring my character too much to the carpet. I don't like to cross that boundary because it's a really important boundary I have to keep with myself and a character, to keep them at work and me at home." When June reunites with her husband Luke, played by O.T. Fagbenle, they have to make some difficult decisions about protecting their own family and liberating the country. The final season was especially meaningful for Fagbenle, as he got to see his co-star Elisabeth Moss be a mother in real life as well. As he recounted to The Hollywood Reporter, "On day one of filming the final season, for me, the big thing I remember was just meeting my dear friend, my colleague, and knowing she'd been through this extraordinary experience." The strikingly handsome Fagbenle has become quite the leading man since The Handmaid's Tale, as he starred on buzzy shows like No Good Deed and Presumed Innocent, and even played Barack Obama on Showtime's The First Lady. No wonder June finds him irresistible. Samira Wiley played June's friend Moira, who eventually emerges as one of the show's most essential revolutionaries. Wiley was very pleased with where her character ended up, as she told The Hollywood Reporter, "This is the Moira that I fell in love with. This is the Moira that I said yes to when I was offered the job. This is the Moira that Margaret Atwood wrote about in 1985 when she wrote The Handmaid's Tale. That Moira who is driven by fire and fight and light."
It's time for the world to be turned upside down.
As Wiley's fame has grown, she's also found her fashion identity. As she explained to Glamour in 2019, she realized that her skin color and natural hair were rarely represented in the beauty world. As she put it, "You couldn't be a spokesperson for what was sexy. You were told over and over again how much you weren't those things, just by ads being in your face. I don't know necessarily if I really have felt like I have seen myself represented before I was able to be the one representing myself." In the early seasons of The Handmaid's Tale, much of the drama revolved around June's life as a slave to Commander Fred Waterford, played by Joseph Fiennes. Commander Waterford met a brutal end in the 4th season, and Fiennes believed that it was more than justified. As he explained to Vanity Fair, given the length of time June has been executing that need to revenge to bring closure, the paradox being that it inevitably doesn't bring closure and in fact perpetuates the issue, she becomes the monster she seeks to destroy. We needed that time to see the full departure of the high spiritual June into the low, vengeful angel. On the big screen, Fiennes is probably best known for 1998's Shakespeare in Love, in which he played a rakishly handsome version of the Bard. But he's since spent much of the ensuing decades on TV, and has also taken some breaks from acting. It was all part of a rebellion so as to avoid being typecast as a heartthrob. As he told Esquire in 2009, "There's always going to be a next big thing, and a hottest this, and the sexiest that. That's the nature of the beast, but I didn't want to be involved in it." Ever Carradine played Naomi Putnam, who gradually became a major player in the show's existential battle between oppression and revolution. She began the show as a recurring guest star, but was eventually bumped up to series regular status. As she gratefully noted to Deadline in 2025, "To be a regular, it just meant that I knew my comings and goings. It really meant a lot to me to finish the show with the cast as a regular at all sorts of fun finale events."
And much of this show is being quiet. Much of this show is what isn't said.
Off-screen, Carradine has become a bit of a style icon. As she explained to the fashion blog The Particulars, her style is shaped from growing up in the Los Angeles neighborhood of Laurel Canyon. As she put it, "I think that the beauty of growing up in California is that anything goes. It's all really okay. So yeah, I think anything goes sort of gives you luxury to just put on whatever you want." Max Minghella's Nick is initially an antagonist as an agent of Gilead, but it eventually becomes clear that he's far more sympathetic to the rebellion than he initially lets on. During an interview with Variety, Minghella talked about how the themes of The Handmaid's Tale still resonate, despite being based on a novel that was published in 1985. As he put it, "We're guilty of thinking that something is new when it's actually cyclical in our history. We often think some of the ideas we're engaging with are happening to us for the first time, when they echo in eternity." Minghella first made his name in 2006's Art School Confidential, but one of his outfits for that movie was the most uncomfortable he's ever worn. As he told InStyle, "I had to wear a beret, and I found every moment of it truly humiliating. I remember being completely traumatized by it." Alexis Bledel won an Emmy for playing Emily, one of the most intelligent and rebellious of all the handmaids. But it was a difficult part to get through, particularly Emily's experience with female genital mutilation. As Bledel recalled to The Hollywood Reporter, "It was deeply upsetting to even imagine Emily going through something like that, being captured, powerless, with no say over her body."
And then the hits just keep coming. I mean, it's just really relentless.
TV buffs have been able to witness Bledel transform right before their eyes for decades, ever since she started playing Rory on Gilmore Girls in 2000. She's been a red carpet mainstay since she was a kid, and she had to develop her style during some pretty up and down times for fashion. As she recalled to 17 in 2010, "I don't want to diss a brand, but there were a lot of kids who wore shirts with logos all the way down the sleeve and on the chest. I remember one trend that I really liked though, when everyone dressed like they did in the movie Clueless. I thought that was great." Rita Blue was the perfect part for Amanda Brugel, who actually wrote a college thesis on the character decades before playing her. As she explained to The Hollywood Reporter, "I'm most interested in the person who is the least featured. They're able to get away with a lot. I thought she was mysterious and strong and interesting in a way that wasn't the same as June or Serena Joy. I loved her from the beginning." Brugel, a native of Quebec, is such a fashion icon there that she was once a judge on Canada's Drag Race. She's kept her eye on the beauty scene in her home country, including the Montreal-based brand called Untitled. As she noted during an interview with Melina Mori, "I love their idea behind creating silhouettes for a powerful woman, as well as a sexy woman. They can be the same thing. They can be synonymous." As the handmaid Alma, Nina Kiri was a recurring cast member on the first 4 seasons of The Handmaid's Tale, and then she returned for the series finale. Like many others, Kiri was struck by the eternal timeliness of the show's themes. As she told the Television Academy Foundation in 2017, where we're going to be in 30 years is based on what difference we make. It's based on us being conscious of people around us and being good people with morals. Kiri has also starred in movies with important topics and dystopian themes, such as Easy Land and Fingernails, which she's found herself drawn to ever since starring on The Handmaid's Tale. As she told online magazine Infected Ear, in terms of story and cultural impact, I think the show has made certain cultural critiques very mainstream.